And as we set up the stage for the panel discussion, we are going to get into the Friday mood and we'll play some filmy games. Are you ready? Can we make it a little more filmy today? Are you up for it? While we are putting the chairs together, we'll get the house lights on. I will just come down. So, let me introduce the panelists and also the topic for the discussion. The panel discussion is going to be on diversifying the tooling landscape, new opportunities and challenges. For this, may I request moderator, Mr. Nishant Kashyap, who is the editor of TAGMA Times, to first be up on stage. Huge round of applause. May I also request our panelists to join in. Manish Kukreja, CEO, Mintoy Private Limited and President TAITMA, to please join us. Huge round of applause. He has already proved himself to be the dawn of the industry. Thank you for being a sport. Moving ahead, may I request Mr. Shaju Chacko, GM Operations, Rayhan's Precision Tools Private Limited, to please join us. Huge round of applause for all the panelists. Next up, may I request Mr. Shijesh Kokkodan, Director, MACPRO Technologies Private Limited, to please join us. Finally, may I request Mr. S.K. Jha, Head Technology, BPREX Pharma, Packaging India Private Limited, to please join us. Huge round of applause for all these eminent guests and members here. Thank you. Would you need a mic? Or we have enough mic.
Hi, good morning, everyone. And we have had already a good session and a Bollywood session with you also, sir. So before starting, let me just talk about why this particular topic, diversifying the tooling landscape, new opportunities and challenges. So as we all know that automotive industry is the biggest customer of tool and die industry around the world, almost 60% in India as well. But since last few years, we are seeing a shift that a lot of companies are now trying to diversify into many other sectors, like toy, aerospace, packaging, electrical, and many other things, for majorly two reasons. One is that many companies believe that over-dependence on one industry might not be sustainable. Other thing is that the other industries that I just spoke about are also growing rapidly in India. So why to lose out that opportunity? With that note, I'll start with you, Mr. Manish. See, a few years back, I think 5-6 years back, Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, in his Man Ki Baat, spoke about opportunities available in the toy industry. And that kind of opened up the whole opportunity in India. And since then, we have seen the industry is growing rapidly. And I think last year, the export from India for toy was higher than the import to India. So what kind of opportunities available for toy makers in India, and how it is subsequently going to impact the tool makers and other associated technology providers like jigs, fixtures, and value-added service providers?
Hello. Yeah, Nishant, see, till the Prime Minister spoke about the toy industry in his Man Ki Baat, the toy industry didn't have a platform. I mean, we had a lot of representation to the government, but nothing happened. Touchwood, with COVID, what happened was the scenario changed even in the consumers market. Because when we were in the lockdown at home, we were all taking care of ourselves. We never realized the impact that toys had on children. Right. So I mean, the kids used to go to school, they're playing, they're enjoying themselves. That 1 year lockdown in the house, and the parents realized the importance of toys. And that perception is now growing. The toy industry is actually growing at a pretty decent rate. I'm not talking about the present scenario. We are in a phase, where it's a transition stage for us.
Okay.
But yes, Goya, I think looking forward, it has a big opportunity. To give you a very simple example, for the kind of products I make, I need 8 molds to make one particular product.
Okay.
Right. So if I have 200 products, you're looking at about 2,000 molds that I need.
Okay, that's just one company.
Just one company. And we have about 2,000 toy manufacturers. So you do the math.
Right.
And this is when you're only supplying to India. Now, when with China plus one, if India takes even, I mean, we are not even 1% of the world's global trade in toy exports. Okay. If we can even get to 1% from 0.5% that we are right now, the turnover doubles, right. Requirement doubles. Just to give you a perspective, in 2022, we did a survey. 400,000, that means 4 lakh new products came into the toy market, brand new products. That's, I mean, even if 50% of them use molds, you can imagine that's 200,000 products came with molds. The opportunity is amazing, and I think TAGMA should really latch onto that.
Right. So you spoke about, there are 2,000 companies, and you need like about 1,000 or 2,000 molds in a year. Roughly, how many molds we need in India, roughly?
That's a tough one to calculate because manufacturers don't, actually want to reveal their the total SKUs, their dependency on molds. But toy, we have toys from plastics, we have toys in metal, we have toys in wood, we have toys in, every material that you have apart from glass, right. Toys are used because it's basically for children.
Right.
So I would say about 40%, 35-40% is what toy manufacturers will use some kind of a mold. I mean, even a game manufacturer will need molds to make those pegs.
Right.
Right. So about 35-40% people use molds, and that is a huge variety.
Okay.
That's a huge variety.
Okay. Okay. Moving to you, Mr. Chacko. See, aerospace and defense industry has been growing rapidly since last 10 years. Now a lot of OEMs and tier ones have set up their shop here in India and manufacturing the actual component for the global market. What kind of opportunities do you see in the Indian aerospace industry, and how tool makers can capitalize on this?
Okay, morning. In India now, going for aviation, civil aviation, we have support for Boeing and Airbus also. There are a lot of opportunity for us, especially for the manufacturing the engine items, landing gear items like that. Mostly for the injection motor parts is there, machining parts, aluminum alloys and lithium alloys, then titanium parts. That's for the aviation area. Then for aerospace, like ISRO, VSSC, that area also we have a lot of opportunity for the Chandrayaan 3 or Gaganyaan. All this area, we have a lot of opportunity. In fact, we have some limitations is there. Especially our technology need to be improved a lot. The required finish, accuracy, that is very important. We are always working with the 2 to 5 micron accuracy. That is a major challenge. And we have to take care of this area where we need some training, especially technology transfer. In fact, a lot of foreign countries are having saturated with this area, but we are still need to improve. We have technical people, like tool makers, are very good in our side. But technology area, we need to have some improvement requirement. Secondly, there are a lot of opportunity in helicopter spare parts. And now, recently, we have a lot of domestic companies like Mahindra, L&T, and HAL also, having a lot of private sector is coming into the field. So that we can, a lot of tool makers really have a lot of opportunity that side also. But we have still challenges for the material. Most of the materials are we need to import. Especially we are not manufacturing any, most of the materials required like alloys and composites, all this one, not easily available here. We have to depend on other countries. So the manufacturing of this local material is very important for us. That needs to be done. Then it is certification area. It's coming to the certification. It will take maybe 4 to 5 months of work only for an AS 1900. When it is ISO, platform is ISO, later we have to go for AS. There we have to work hard to maintain this or get certified So process is need to be a little bit simplified is required inside internally. That one is very important. And this certificate is actually for 3 years. Actually, we have to get this certificate for 3 years. After that, we have to go for the certification. All this process, we need the certification body need to be support us very well. Then only can be done. And our tool makers actually in new generation is not much, not like our senior level tool makers way. They are not much, the hands-on is very less, actually always coming in that area. We need to have a training, especially in industries, need to have a on-job training as well as the trainings. Every industry must have a training center for the hands-on experience for the people. Not only sitting in the, directly coming to the manager and coming from the tool maker become a manager means totally different. The result will be totally different. So that area, every industry need to have some implementation of the trainings. That means that is also very important. Yeah.
So you brought up this topic of skill and training, which has been the talk of the town since yesterday as well. So what kind of skill set required to make molds and tools for the aerospace industry?
In fact, in aerospace industry, we need that machining is the most important. That means when you are making a machining, one thing is cost effective, you have to machine. Not like just like only accuracy is important, not that way. When you're going for the quality, that means you cannot make a scrap also. So that area, people must have a very good experience in programming, like newly 5-axis machine. That means most of the products are complex in shape. Geometry will be complex. So that one product after maybe it is, we have to start machining. The last time some dimension is out, we lose everything. So that means the importance of the value of the product must have well aware of the operator, and the finish, the finish also very important. So that we got to use cutting tools, because when tools is a very selection of the cutting tools is very important. The cooling technique is also very important, because it's a very different hardness, different property of the material is different. So all this area, people have a good knowledge, even classroom training as well as machine training, as well programming training. All this area we need to have training for the people.
Okay. Moving to you, Mr. Jha. See, everyone these days talking about sustainability, but you come from an industry that is being, impacted by the sustainability movement since long time. So how this sustainability packaging is impacting the tool requirement in packaging industry?
Good morning, everyone. The most important generic discussions that I see around sustainability today in our industry, or specifically in rigid packaging industries, since last 3 to 5 years, clients are asking for PCR uses. PCR, when I say, I think everybody knows. Here in the fraternity, it is post-consumer reuse. So earlier, the specification was with specific resin. Now, clients are asking that, please try PCR addition into it. Now, it is a very open situation here. What's the percentage of PCR now? We have to use 30% PCR. We have to try 60% PCR. We have to try 70% PCR, and then we resubmit samples to client. They compare, they check the PCR samples with original lead resin, and then they come back, okay, now we specify this PCR usage of, let's say, 30%. You can go ahead and commercialize it. We start, the industry converters start supplying PCR uses parts. You have PCR coming from different manufacturers. Again, one batch might come from X company, next batch might come from Y company, and then the consistency of PCR quality is always a challenge. It's not only quality related to the resin of PCR, it's also handling a challenge. In terms of PCR, at times you have order issues, handling issues, and the next challenge comes to hot runners. If you have hot nuts with valve gated, then how does it behave with PCR? Different quality of PCR, different batch of PCR, it is very unpredictable. So from client perspective, to do value engineering or cost saving, it is a very easy call to go for PCR. But to drive sustainability with PCR, for converter, it becomes really very difficult challenge to deal with. This applies to all the converters across, at least in our geography, I see. And this is the biggest challenge that currently around sustainability, the clients are, the whole ecosystem is facing challenge. So I think this whole ecosystem has to think about sustainable PCR uses as a whole value chain. It's not only should be a call for cost saving for brand owner, it should also be practically and realistic to execute it on daily commercial production basis. So that's more important, I would say, at this point of time. Then more deeper aspects of sustainability, customers are looking for metal-free packaging. Let's say packaging which has springs or pins or other parts. They are looking for metal-free packaging. From metal-free, they are moving towards only plastic packaging. So, and then from only plastic, they are moving to mono-material packaging. So let's say we have a bottle on every table. We have a PET bottle with HDP cap. Now, customers or brand owners expect that PET bottles would have PET cap as well, so that the whole bottle and cap can go to single recycling stream when it is disposed. This is coming soon. At least in Asia, it is yet to come, but definitely it is coming soon. So these are the challenges around sustainability that I see currently.
So you spoke about challenges related to PCR and the single bottle. How does it impact the tooling? What kind of tools do you need to serve this kind of packaging needs?
Yeah, so let's say to drive for this example itself, I would say, let's say now we have blue color HDP cap on the bottle. We have a T-ring function, and T-ring function is ideally, so far since decades of 3 or 4 decades, it is suitable for, HDP is the reagent which is suitable for T function. And a lot of people have put time, energy, a lot of tool makers have invented the T-ring, T flaps, T features on to make these temper evidence. Okay, now in Europe they are moving from separated T-rings to tethered concept. So the T-rings should not separate. That is being driven across Europe. But in Asia still it is yet to come. But let's say now as a generic way I say HDP cap has to be replaced by PET cap. So it becomes really difficult challenge for tool maker to deal with, because PET is totally different resin compared to HDP. PET, the basic difference between P and PET is that P is specified on melt flow index, PET is specified on intrinsic viscosity. So handling polyester for the same application against polyethylene becomes very challenging for tool maker, and even in PET, he has to go for PET or PETG or PCTA. To suit the tool, to suit the application, they will have to do a lot of trial and errors and R&D and simulation to reach here. So these are the challenges around such sustainable applications for tool makers.
Okay, and do you see that the tool makers are equipped enough to serve the kind of demand you just spoke about, in India particularly?
Yeah, sure. To exist in business, this is the need of business. So tool makers are well equipped, well skilled, well capable. Definitely, they will have to go through this learning curve to suit their operations, suit their design capability, suit their manufacturing capability to demanding sustainable need of applications. But I don't see a skill gap, not skill gap, the capability or willingness or intent to drive the application to realize. There is a whole ecosystem available within our country.
Okay, so I'll come back to you on your expectations and suggestions from the tool makers. But before that, to Mr. Shijesh, Mr. Shijesh, I know for the fact that you have been serving the automotive industry for a long time, and still I think 60% of your overall business comes from the automotive industry, exactly like how the Indian tooling industry is based. What were the driving factors behind diversifying into other industries, which are, I think, aerospace, medical, and electrical that you have? So what was the need that you diversified in those industries, and how did you go about it?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you, TAGMA, for this opportunity. So there are two, maybe I have to touch upon a little more on the challenges side. And of course, why we try to diversify is purely on the profitability, or what we do right now. Is there anything better profitable business? For that, primarily I would like to say on the existing tooling scenario, what is happening. So any tool maker, or for example, tool makers are in the range of 5 crores or less than that kind of a turnover, kind of a people. They are more driven by the target price given by the customer. So they don't make the actual study on what cost they are spending to complete a project. So this is more like an opportunity comes in front of them, and what is happening is that the price is like 10% lower than the other supplier. So they don't dig into the real fact where how much money they have to spend to complete this project and make it as a business. And whoever toolmaker jump into the toolmaking industry with lot of passion, they try to do a lot of things to prove to the customer that I'm good. So finally, they're missing a big bottom line where they struggle to cater to the next requirement. So this floating is happening in the range of maybe 2 to 5 crores kind of a companies. So scalability becomes bigger concern. So they keep on thinking about, okay, there is another business coming in, or what is other avenues, because there is 8,500 crores worth of tooling which we are importing as per the data. And in the whole room, whoever is sitting here, I think whatever competency or capacity what we have, maybe about 500 or 600 crores worth of tooling is what is the possibility within this room. So who are the guys going to do this or reduce this 8,000 crores to a 4,000 crore or 3,000 crore? So what is the base they have got to come up to that level to capture that market? Because we are talking about opportunity. So opportunity was never a concern, but the structured way of capturing that opportunity was a concern. So maybe government is trying a lot of things to improve the MSME and making their thought process better. But in my view, people have to get into the real cost breakdown, how much they are spending in each tooling, and so that they are able to visualize they are really making money or not. And if they are not making money, just see what is the inefficiency, what is happening, correct that first, then grab the next opportunity. So this is one. So next is, I would request everybody, make this costing sheet ready so that you are not just behind the target prices, because maybe one situation like every month, maybe after 25th or something, 90% or maybe 60% employer, or they are running behind to find out what is the receivable to make the salaries. So this is a situation coming into the tool makers who are just getting into the tool making industry, and that is a real fact. And we talk about a lot of opportunity, and we hear a lot of things, but this is primarily, it is a survival. And that is where even we are now, personally myself is trying to get into a different avenue where we have a better margins or better situations. So maybe that is the reason I'm just trying to get into a different commodity where we are trying to get better profitability.
And how did you go about it? What was your strategy to get into a new industry? For example, you are doing automotive. Let's say first you approached aerospace industry. How did you choose that particular industry? What changes you made within your own team or infrastructure? What approach you followed? Can you please talk about that?
See here, tool making industry is, like we said, the mother of all the industry. So every skill is directly or indirectly, it is already built in. Like you have a design capability, you have a manufacturing capability, you have the assembly, analysis, and processing. So in aerospace or medical industry, it is more, if it is more to do with anything machining, you already have the skill set. It is only thing what geometry, or maybe you have to slightly diversify to that direction to see what is the actual customer requirement. So it may not be a bigger shift from your existing activity to get into that market. It is only how good you communicate and get that business and be successful in that. So in terms of skill, you have to fine tune it in such a way that what customer is requesting for that. But the know-how is already built in.
So you are saying infrastructure remains same, but skill-wise you need to develop something or learn something to venture into other industries. Yeah. As Mr. Shaju also said that, you know, you need to deal in microns when you work with aerospace industry. So how did you go about it? Like, how did you develop that skill, skill set within your own company?
See, when we started the company, the mantra was like cleanliness in the company, which will bring in precision. Okay, any environment which is dirty and is not maintained correctly, you cannot talk about precision. So we kept a cleaner environment. We kept, I mean, in my company, if you ask me, we don't have any 0.01 dial. Everything is 0.002. So it gives people to visualize what tolerance you are operating. And it doesn't, because sometimes, I have seen many of our suppliers says, even though they dial a surface and saying that I make it 00. Because the least count is much bigger, the dial doesn't even change. So they talk about 00. But 0 has got many other, this one like you make it 0.002. So that gives a bigger visualizing ability for the people to understand you are deviating from the actual requirement more. So that culture has to be built in from the day one, so that you can able to do much better things later on. So we follow that.
Okay. Moving on to the next topic, to the gentlemen who are come from the user industry. I want to ask you about your tooling setup, existing tooling setup. You must be having a captive tool room, then you are also dealing with the commercial tool rooms. So can you please talk about your existing tooling activities, how much you make on your own, and then how much you source from outside, and what has been your experience, because you also have dealt with a lot of outside companies from China and Taiwan. So can you just draw a little a kind of a comparison?
Yeah, so I don't have a tool room. Short, simple, sweet. Okay. There's a simple mantra I follow. I can do anything, I can't do everything. All right? There are some amazing tool makers out there. Only thing is you have to search for them and get them on board. So we have a small tool room that we have, but that's only for repair and maintenance. We don't have anything else. We don't make our own molds. We make our own designs, definitely. We give it to the tool room. We ask them to help us design. This I'm talking about my company. In the toy industry, very few manufacturers have their own tool room. They also source a lot of tool rooms from Indian manufacturer tools, and they also import a lot of tools. So I think that's where we as a toy industry stand.
Okay, and how has your experience been? Like, you have also sourced some tools from China. So can you just talk about some comparison? What was your experience with them and versus the Indian tool makers?
I think someone showed a slide, timeline. I'm being very honest. Timeline. Timeline and flexibility, both. I'll take a minute to explain both of them. Yeah. First on timeline is like, for example, you want to make a product. Certain toy industry is a very, it's a very different industry than everything else. If a movie is coming out and you have a product that is in line with the movie, like for example, a Mighty Raju movie comes out, it's a cartoon movie, and you have say an airplane in a Mighty Raju movie. They want that product out at the time of the movie release. Now, if you don't get that mold from the tool maker on time, and it has to come at least a month before, because then we have to do the graphics, the packaging, everything has to be designed on that. You miss that timeline, you've missed the bus. Then the product does not run, and the tool cost comes to us. That's one. So I think timeline is something that's very important. Secondly, flexibility. I'm talking not at the level of the tool room guys, at the manufacturers of the tools, because every major big tool room company that I've approached, when I talk to them about the smaller molds, they back out. You have to understand toys. China rules the roost, about 85% world market. Same thing is there in India itself. So we are fighting against, it's like a David versus Goliath fight, and we've survived till now. So we are looking at, the cost of the mold compared to the cost of the product, because our life cycle for product anyway is anywhere between 20,000 pieces to 40,000 pieces. You remove 20 to 40,000 pieces. After that, the next question your dealer will ask you is, "Naya kya diya?" What's new that you're giving? And each tool costs us some amount of money. So that is something that people have to realize, that you can't have an injection molded mold for everything else. If it's okay if you have to make a vertical mold for you. I mean, I don't have to have it for a 120 or a 140 ton machine. If I have it for a 40 ton machine and I need a smaller tool, if you can work with me for that, perfect. I'm not a tool expert. So if the mold maker can, the tool company can even suggest materials to me by asking me, what is your what is the output you're looking at? You're looking at 100,000 pieces or 1,000,000 pieces. Definitely materials will change. So that feedback from the tool companies will be very vital. The third one, I would like to just mention it out there, is we also look at a lot of jigs and fixtures, masks. For example, if you see any Chinese product, the main difference between a Chinese product and our product is the aesthetics, the way it looks. So if we have masks made where you can do the spray painting and all, we have the spray painting machines, the technology. We don't get the masks. I got two masks sourced from an Indian company, and I came to know they imported it from China. So it's a simple thing. We can do a soft landing on the moon. We can send a rover to the Mars. But why can't we make a mask? It's a simple question. Because maybe nobody spoke out here, or maybe nobody's thought about it. It's a small expense. It'll cost you 10, 15, 20,000 bucks. It won't cost you more than that. But you're not looking at the volume. It's either you sell a Mercedes or you want to sell a Honda City. It depends. That's the thing. You will sell more Honda Cities than a Mercedes.
And toys also have, less shelf life. Also, you need molds that can produce mass, products. So, in that regards, what kind of tools usually you need, and how soon you have to look for the new one, and how does it, impact your overall cost effectiveness?
That's an argument I'm having with my son right now. So, the thing is that a child wants a new toy every day. Anybody who's got children, you'll realize what I'm talking about. So he goes to a toy shop. He says, "Okay, I have this. I want that." That's a child. So I had told you earlier also that about 400,000 new SKUs came out in 2022. That's 4 lakh pieces. That's a huge variety. So that is the kind of, I'm just saying, if you just take even 50% of that as molds, that's 200,000 varieties. That is at minimum 200,000 molds is what we require. And we don't have deep pockets, so we can't actually keep on coming up with a new product every week. So we come up with 3 or 4 products every year, and there are 2,000 manufacturers, so you can just cover up that much.
Huge opportunity.
Huge opportunity.
Mr. Jha, I just used this, and I think it's a manufacturing defect that it has become one. So I think we can find some jugaad in India, maybe that is there in US. So coming back to the question, you have your own tool room, or what kind of expectation you have from the tool makers who get into the pharma packaging, because you are serving the pharma industry very much?
Currently, I work with Berry Global. We have our own mold shops, but we do outsource tools for healthcare and for consumer packaging.
And what kind of expectation you have from tool makers? Let's say if someone wants to become your vendor, what all checklist you would have to onboard them as your vendor?
The most important I see is typical to our demographic, our own demographic tool makers. I see the biggest gap I see at times is their work planning. The tool maker who are producing good quality TDG packaging molds are, the bigger tool makers are overbooked. So when you approach them, they do accept orders, but we fairly know the risk of delays in delivery. That's not in our control, because when any business enterprise has more than installed capacity work order, it is fairly known that it is going to be delayed. We have to only understand whether the delay we can accommodate as a brand owner or not. That's a control that we fairly understand. Now coming to the medium scale tool makers, there when we see the same gap of, they have installed capacities, unutilized capacities, but they don't have planned visibility, clear visibility, because they don't have right plan. So detailed plan of their utilized capacity, mostly they use through spreadsheets, and some of the steps get extended and leads to final assembly delay, leading to trial delay. After T0, there will be T0 to T1 delays, and the delay continues. So if this is addressed, and second part I would say is inspection process. After every manufacturing process, the inspection should be, improvement, the basis is measurement. So if the measurement is right, data is right, captured, analyzed, verified, and then the next course of steps, actions are defined, that would help. These are the two gaps that I see medium scale and small scale tool makers need to improve upon.
Mr. Shijesh, would you like to respond to the, the challenge Mr. Jha and also Mr. Manish stated that, timeline is the biggest challenge. How, as a tool maker, you can improve or you can suggest to the other tool makers?
Yeah. On the timeline, typically what happens is none of the tool room get a clear visibility of what orders he is going to receive in the next month. Okay. So typically the plan goes to like capacity of 5 molds a month or 10 molds a month. This can be a capacity across general tool rooms in India. So these 10 molds or 5 molds, precisely sometimes what happens is you would have even given a quotation to your customer, maybe 10 or 20 or odd molds. So nobody gives any confirmation that tentatively, okay, this is going to come in this month or next month, or something like that. And what exactly happens is like you also need to fill up your capacity to manage your tool room and run the show. So suddenly if a new customer or the existing customer where you would have given a mold prices about 3 months back comes back and tell you that, okay, next 10 days I'm planning to launch this. And he also do not have any choice because internally at his place, he would have finalized the supplier with the prices and everything. And so the 10 molds or 5 molds capacity supplier become overbooked by 15 molds. So this is okay. Where we have a situation like China where we can outsource without any trouble to another supplier and get the things done at the same quality, same expectations. Here it is not available. Most of the time, the kind of tools what we do, if we try to outsource, either we have to send our operator there and get it done, and or get the things ready, or buy it from China, some inserts. Because any tool room here in India, we talk about 85% efficiency or 90% efficiency, but actually it is at 50%. So all our calculations, capacity calculations, everything, we put a fancy number of 85% and calculate the delivery time, and practically it is even, I doubt, less than 50 sometimes. So we failed the day one itself, but that is not, we cannot even communicate to customer sometimes because that thing is managed and one by one we are delivering it. So one is the capacity is a bigger constraint to manage the incoming load. And so here what happens is you buy one machine, get 2 mold order. It is not like you have 10 machines and you clearly do a proper execution of a mold and then go to the next. It is not that way. So you buy 1 or 2 machines and get more business. Whenever you get business, you try to invest. But we are not ready to take the business. So this is because of the capex and other. We have yesterday also we are discussing about the situation where capex. The lack of investment and other things. So it is like more to do with the chicken and egg story. So we are trying to improve in every situation and parallelly trying to grow also.
So involving tool maker in the conceptualization stage, would that work? Because yesterday also we heard a third gentleman said that they achieved 7 weeks all molds for their new product because they involved the tool makers when they were actually conceptualizing, starting the product. Would that help?
See, we also have a success story with 5 days, 10 days, all that is there. But again, it depends on the load, what you get at that particular time. That 7 weeks cannot be a pattern whatever he gets it. It cannot be a pattern. So, it is a struggle. It is a struggle. We have to have enough capacity, not only in-house, we should have with the other outside supplier also, the same capacity, the machining capacity. So that is something which is lacking. And we do not have any system like a cluster. We have one supplier here, another supplier is 30 kilometers away. Even if it is 7 kilometers away, we take almost one hour to travel. So these kind of situations sometimes really hit hard on our delivery times.
Right. Mr. Shaju, can you talk a little bit about your tooling activities, what kind of tool makers you work with? Also, you come from the industry that demands a lot of certifications and compliances issues. So would you like to touch upon those things as well?
Okay. Actually, my company's name is Rayhan's Precision Tools. We are a part of Nest Group SF4 Technologies. Our chairman, Mr. N. Jahangir, he is visionary. He is having 30 years of this business started. Now it is a 2,000 crore business. We have even from water until we are working with Chandrayaan. So every area, very vertical we have. We have a tool room, we have injection molding facility, metal stamping facility, then CNC machining, all the facility we have. So in the tool room, what I am heading is in Cochin. There we have all sophisticated machine like wire EDM, high-speed milling, 5-axis milling, zinc EDM, and CNC grinding and manual grinding, all this one. Except lathe work, round jobs only we are giving outside. We are getting a lot of support from all the domestic, especially from Bangalore, Coimbatore and Chennai side, we are getting a lot of support from the suppliers. And material is another area where still we have to have some delay in the material availability. Every time, like lead time is an issue with us also, especially design. Design, we take a long time. Like yesterday we discussed, I was here 7 weeks. But the beginning is that we are getting some information like what we are going to do. We can make a platform like basic design, construction, everything we can do. Some DFM job or we complete, then it will be easy. Once the order is coming time, we can implement very fast. And material procurement we can do in parallel. We know what is the size of that mold or die it will be coming. So what is, all this one can pre-plant, and so that we can reduce the time. And for the certification area, like still we are any certification going, we have a lot of documentation activities to be done. Like suggesting the 5S, the foundation is there, means already we can, already people having that mindset will be there. We have to get, so that people will be working into that angle, so that we can get faster. Still any certification also, lot of area we have to improve, and the time for the certification as well as for the 2 year, 3 year that renewal of the certification all need to simplify. That is very important for our authorities like auditing team. That's
okay.
important.
And how do you qualify a tool maker to be your vendor? Quickly, if you can just give few.
Usually we give them some samples first for making, especially we are not giving full mold to vendors. We are giving spare part only. We'll give some complex part we give them for manufacturing, then we'll do every 100% dimension checking as well as the finish and the array value, what is necessary, everything is the hardness. Every area we check it properly. then we audit them, supplier audit we do, then accordingly we approve them. That is the basic, every company is doing the similar pattern only. And we are, like he said, we are partially also we give some time, because as in China, like we say, there is a lot of, like a hawker center, we have a lot of marketing, lot of EDM, lot of grinding, like that's available. But in here we don't have that. So that what we do, we partially will do some activity and give the partial work to the others, those who have capacity available. The balancing of the machine also very difficult for us, because some parts is coming, mold, EDM will be fully bottleneck. Some stamping die coming, wire cut will be fully bottleneck. So this imbalance is always we are facing an issue. So that we have to have balancing from the supplier side. Support.
Right, so we have got just a couple of minutes. Just your suggestions to the industry, 30 seconds each, if someone wants to get into toy industry, 30 seconds.
Yeah, so Shijesh gave a very good suggestion. I mean, I thought we could do it on an association level, because I'm also the president of my association. He made a point that if somebody has a capacity, I mean, and suddenly orders come in and you get overcapacity happens. If somebody wants to try it out as a pilot project, I would propose that if TAGMA and TAITMA can tie up, give a list of your mold makers or tool makers who have a capacity, and any manufacturer who's willing to do it. You can have a matchmaking session, give it a pilot project, give it a shot. If it works, we can then expand it to a bigger sample size. And then we can have a system in place wherein, if say, for example, if Shijesh is already at full capacity, he can always tell TAGMA, okay, I'm at full capacity, you can pass it on to somebody else. That will also not only solve the timeline issues, but I think the industry overall will get better exposure, and I think it should be a win-win situation for all. That's my suggestion.
I think our president also heard your suggestion, so probably we'll talk on that thing as well. Mr. Shaju, your suggestions in 30 seconds.
Okay. My one suggestion is we should have some cluster, like one team to be like a similar activity doing tool rooms, especially tier 2, tier 3 tool rooms, having some kind of whoever having the capacity, or how we can share the business, like that we can develop each other. That can be another one suggestion for especially for the lead time, because our very important problem we are facing, is the lead time. So reduction of that one, especially in India now, we into that kind of one consortium. Is one of the best one I am proposing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Shijesh, your suggestion if someone wants to get diversify into other sectors.
Yeah, one suggestion would be you have to get your, at least implement some kind of an ERP where you capture all your data internally, because we are getting into a digitized world. The people are not really systematic in writing down the data like olden days. People are more used to with handheld mobile devices. So get any type of ERP where you capture your end-to-end expenses so that your business can be more stable. And any industry, let it be any aerospace or automotive or whatever, you should have your analysis about whatever you are doing should be precisely monitored every time, every month, so that it is easy for you to grow and it doesn't put a hurdle in anywhere.
Right.
And another one request maybe to the OEMs, if I can ask, like whenever we ask about the machine hour rates, they ask about the ROI we have to calculate for 10 years. Since mold being a capex, they can also look at capturing the ROI of molds in 10 years, so that toolmaker get a better money for molds.
Perfect. Mr. Jha, your take.
Yeah, I think I would just reiterate that the most important focus should be collectively as a whole tooling ecosystem on skill upgrade, skill retention, and skill valuing of the people. Because equipment anybody can buy. What makes difference is people. That's important.
So just to summarize, we spoke about challenges and opportunities, but I think with the 40 minutes of discussion, I can see more of opportunities and less challenges, because every industry we spoke about is growing rapidly and going to demand a lot of tools. Of course, there are some suggestions from all our speakers that we need to work on the skill development. We don't have to work much on the infrastructure part if we have to diversify and maybe get into the digitization and more process-oriented world. Thank you so much. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And opportunities are what we are looking at with optimism. A huge round of applause for all our eminent panelists. And may I request Mr. Nishant to please come forward to do the honors of felicitating them individually. May I request you to be center stage while we'll put our hands together in inviting Mr. Manish Kukreja to please join in the felicitation. Huge round of applause calls for a photo op. Thank you so much. Now may I request Mr. Shaju Chacko, please join us center stage. Huge round of applause. Now may I request Mr. Shijesh Kokkodan to please join us. Huge round of applause for all our eminent panelists. Now may I request Mr. S.K. Jha to join us center stage. Huge round of applause. Thank you so much. And to felicitate our moderator, Mr. Nishant, may I request co-opted member Mr. Ajit Gupta to please join us on stage. Huge round of applause. Calls for a perfect photo op, and we'll follow it up with a group photo. Opting for optimism, that's how the photo also should be looking, with a big smile. Huge round of applause for our eminent panelists. Thank you so much. And now we'll take a short tea break and we'll see you back here in 15 minutes. Thank you so much.